U.S. Navy warships will become ghost ships by 2045. The service plans to expand to 523 warships, and 150 of them won't have a single sailor on board. In 20 years, nearly 1 in 3 U.S. Navy warships will be ghost ships, sailing the 7 seas without a human crew. That's according to the service's latest fleet study, released earlier this week, which recommends a fleet of 373 manned ships and 150 unmanned warships by 2045 in an attempt to preserve global dominance in the sea. The analysis, Chief of Naval Operations Navigation Plan, represents a considerable growth of the U.S. battle fleet, as first reported by U.S. Naval Institute News. The U.S. Navy currently operates 300 battle force ships, defined as warships capable of contributing to combat operations. The Navy has been spurred to action by the rise of the People's Liberation Army Navy, PLAN, which has risen from a green water fleet, mostly concerned with protecting China's coastline, to a true blue water force capable of projecting naval power worldwide. The 2021 Pentagon report on China describes the plan as including 355 ships and submarines, including approximately more than 145 major surface combatants. The U.S. Navy is a global force that must prepare for conflict on several fronts, from Yemen to Russia. While the Chinese Navy must prepare to beat the U.S. Navy and its allies in the Western Pacific, the U.S. Navy must prepare for a war with China and another war, potentially on the other side of the planet, simultaneously. Some highlights of the 523-ship fleet plan include 12 carriers, or 1 more than the current fleet. The U.S. Navy wants an additional carrier, likely based on the West Coast. This could be accomplished by keeping an older Nimitz-class carrier in service longer than planned, while continuing to build more new Ford-class carriers, and building an extra ship when it becomes financially viable. It's also possible this 12-ship fleet includes smaller, non-nuclear powered carriers. 96 large surface combatants. These ships would act as bodyguards for aircraft carriers and large amphibious ships, and operate independently. The current fleet consists of 22 Ticonderoga-class cruisers, 70 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, and 1 Zumwalt-class destroyer, but the cruisers are old and won't make it to 2045. The new DDG-X destroyer, if it gets built, will likely fill that role. DDG-X won't start construction until 2028, and the idea of the Navy building 24 of the ships by 2045. 66 submarines, including fast attack and large diameter payload boats, or 12 more than the current fleet. This includes existing Virginia-class submarines and at least a handful of SSN-X builds, the Navy's next-generation nuclear-powered attack submarines. The reference to large diameter payload boats is a submarine that will replace the 4 Ohio-class ballistic missile submarines. One vision for the boats is a Columbia-class ballistic missile submarine converted to also carry missiles, including hypersonic missiles. 56 Constellation-class guided missile frigates, 56 more than the current fleet. After the failure of the Littoral Combat Ship program, which produced more than 30 small, under-armed, mechanically unreliable frigate-sized ships, the Navy is pivoting to a new design based on the European FREMM-class frigates. 150 uncrewed robotic ships. The Navy is betting big on robotic warships that will boost the number of available ships in the fleet. Robotic warships will be smaller and cheaper than regular warships, due to the lack of life support systems for human crews, and sail either autonomously or under remote human control. The Navy is currently experimenting with 4 uncrewed warships, Seahawk, Sea Hunter, Nomad, and Ranger at the multinational 2024 Rim of the Pacific, RIMPAC, naval exercises. Will the Navy pull off this ambitious expansion in just 23 years? There are good reasons to be skeptical: the failure of the Zumwalt and Littoral Combat Ship programs, the inability of the Navy to build a successor to the Ticonderoga-class cruisers, and technical delays and cost overruns with the first of the Ford-class aircraft carriers. In the meantime, China continues to crank out ships, having commissioned 9 cruisers and destroyers in 2021 alone. At the same time, the US commissioned just 1. Sea power is a major priority for Beijing. The question is whether it's a priority for Washington, D.C. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe.